turn.
Win. Okay, Amelia, I am going to read to you a tale of Peter Rabbit.
Okay.
Okay? Once upon a time, there were 4 little rabbits, and their names were. Can you show the Cottontail and Peter. Show the rabbits. Those were the baby rabbits. Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail, and Peter. They lived with their mother in a sandbank. Can you show the mother, Amelia? That is the mother. That is Mother Rabbit. They live underneath the roots of a very big tree. Show the tree, Amelia. There you go. Okay, I'll hold on to these, and you show the big tree. That is the big tree. Okay. Now, my dears, said old Miss Rabbit one morning, you may go into the fields or down the lane, but don't go into Mr. McGregor's garden. I wonder why. Your father had an accident there. He was put into a pie by Mrs. McGregor. Do you know what a pie is? What is a pie?
It's a cake.
Yeah, it's like a cake. Correct. And you eat it. Do you like eating pie? Yummy, yummy, yummy. What flavor is your favorite? What's your favorite flavor? Chocolate? Banana. Banana, good.
Limonada.
Oh, limonada pie. Now run along and don't get into mischief. I am going out. Then old Miss Rabbit took the basket. Can you show the basket? And her umbrella. Show the basket and the umbrella. Yes, there you go. And went through the woods to the baker's. She bought a loaf of brown bread and 5 currant buns. Yes. Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail, who were good little bunnies, went down the lane to gather blackberries. But Peter, who was very naughty, ran straight away to Mr. McGregor's garden. Ooh.
Why?
I don't know, because he's a bad bunny. Yeah. And squeezed under the gate, so he went inside the garden. What do you think is going to happen to him?
He's not gonna get the pie.
He's not going to get inside a pie? Maybe. Let's find out. First, he ate some lettuces and some fresh French beans, and then he ate some radishes. And then, feeling rather sick, he went to look for some parsley. He ate so much that his tummy felt sick. But round the end of the cucumber frame, whom should he meet but Mr. McGregor? See, this is Mr. McGregor, and this is his garden, and this is Peter. So they saw each other. They ran into each other. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think Mr. McGregor is going to catch Peter? Let's find out. Ooh, what is happening here?
No está corriendo.
Yes, running after him, chasing him. Mr. McGregor was in his hands and knees planting out young cabbages, but he jumped up and ran after Peter, waving a rake and calling out, "Stop, thief!" Ooh, Mr. McGregor is a mean person. He is mad. Peter was the most dreadfully frightened. He rushed all over the garden, for he had forgotten the way back to the gate. He lost one of his shoes among the cabbages. So he only had one shoe.
It's a feet.
Uh-huh. And the other shoe among the potatoes. So he had no shoes on his feet. After losing them, he ran on four legs and went faster. So that I think he might have gotten away altogether if he had not unfortunately ran into the gooseberry net. He's trapped
No, how?
and got caught by the large buttons on his jacket. Ooh, I think he's in trouble. What do you think is gonna happen to him?
I don't know.
It was a blue jacket with brass buttons, quite new. Peter gave himself up for loss and shed big tears, so he started crying. But his sobs were overheard by some friendly sparrows. Sparrows are birds, yes? Who flew to him in great excitement and implored him to exert himself. Mr. McGregor came up with the syrup, which he intended to pop up the top of Peter. Ooh, he wanted to chop him up. But Peter wriggled out just in time, leaving his jacket behind him. So he lost the shoes and he lost the jacket. He has no clothes now. And rushed into the tool shed and jumped into a can. It would have been a beautiful thing to hide in if it had not had so much water in it. So he's wet. Do you think Peter runs fast? Yes? How fast? Can you show me? Yeah! That's fast. That's how fast he ran. Yeah, he's trying to get away from Mr. McGregor. Let's see, show the babies. Mr. McGregor was quite sure that Peter was somewhere in the tool shed, perhaps hiding underneath the flower pots. He began to turn them over carefully, looking under each. Presently, no, amiguita, yes. Peter sneezed. He went, "Achoo!" And Mr. McGregor was after him in no time. So Mr. McGregor heard him. Look here. Who's that?
Peter.
That's Peter. And this is a shoe. This is Mr. McGregor. And tried to put his foot upon Peter, who jumped out of a window, upsetting 3 plants. The window was too small for Mr. McGregor, and he was tired of running after Peter. He went back to his work. Peter sat down to rest. He was out of breath and trembling with fright, and he had not the least idea which way to go. He was lost. Also, he was very damp with sitting in that can, so he was wet. He was tired, he was lost, and he was wet. After a time, he began to wander about, going lippity-lippity, not very fast, and looking all around. He found a door in a wall, but it was locked, and there was no room for a fat little rabbit to squeeze underneath. So he was fat. He was a chubby bunny. An old mouse was running in and out over the stone doorstep, carrying peas and beans to her family in the woods. Peter asked the way to the gate, but she had such a large pea in her mouth that she could not answer. She only shook her head at him. Peter began to cry. Shook her head? Like this, go like this or like that? shaking your head. Let me see, shake your head. There you go. So Peter was sad because he was lost. He didn't know the way, so he started crying again. Then he tried to find his way straight across the garden, but he became more and more puzzled. Presently, he came to a pond where Mr. McGregor filled his water cans. A white cat was staring at some goldfish. She sat very, very still. But now and then, the tip of her tail twitched, moved, as if it were alive. Peter thought it was best to go away without speaking to her. He had heard about cats from his cousin, little Benjamin Bunny. He has a cousin. Just like Celos is your cousin, and Chofis is your cousin. And Beanie is your cousin.